I have something to ask you, but I don't think I'll get a straight answer.
Well, after hearing about some early screening reports and an image or two, we finally got to see the teaser trailer for Zach Cregger's new Resident Evil movie. And I gotta say, it's a pretty good time to be a Resident Evil fan. Not only did we get a banger of a game a few months ago, now we're getting a movie that looks pretty damn good. I was intrigued ever since it was announced that Zach Cregger would be directing, and I was curious what kind of approach he was going to take. That's when he confirmed that it wasn't going to adapt a storyline from the games, but instead would take place within the world of the games. And with this trailer, we finally got some more insight as to what he meant. The movie does take place during the events of the first game in Raccoon City as the outbreak is just beginning. We follow a character who has to transport a package into Raccoon City while all the shit is going down. And I can't wait for it. Right off the bat, I like that a movie based on a horror game franchise actually looks like a horror movie, which is a stark contrast to Paul W.S. Anderson's Resident Evil movies that were just action flicks starring his wife, with some stuff from the game thrown in here and there. This right here is going headfirst into horror, and for the amount of blood shown in the trailer alone, it's safe to say they're not holding back. We not only see zombies here and there, but there are a few glimpses of some bizarre looking creatures that I'm excited to see more of. It looks bloody, it looks gory, it looks intense, and more importantly, it looks fun as hell. The reports saying that this movie was a 90-minute crazy ride seems to be ringing true. Now, Zach Cregger did an interview with IGN right after the teaser went live to shed some more light on it, and there's some good information in this video, so I recommend you check it out. But I'll just go over some of the highlights for you. For starters, he went over the continuity of Resident Evil and where this kind of falls, and I'll just let him explain it.
I'm sort of existing just adjacent to it because I'm not obsessed with the timeline. For me, it's like this is the first night that the T virus has broken out, and in this movie, it is like started in Raccoon City, and he's got to go straight into the eye of the storm, and so that's the deal. So I believe that, you know, when Leon arrives at the police station, that's still kind of like day zero, right? Where shit's you know, freshly gone wrong. So that's the timeline. Now I know that Raccoon City gets nuked, and I'm a little fuzzy on the timeline of when the nuke drops versus the day Leon, you know, sets foot in the police station. That nuking doesn't happen in this movie, which is why I'm not totally like brushed up on all that stuff. So yeah, this exists in like day one Raccoon City. Shit just went south.
So in case you're wondering where exactly this does take place within the continuity or the timeline of Resident Evil, there's your answer. He also said that there are zombies in it, but not as many as you think. In fact, he said it's mostly just like 3 scenes, and he actually focused a lot on some weird and bizarre creatures, because he found that the T-virus being able to mutate and infect people opens the door to some creative and bizarre creatures. So he wants people to see this as more than just a zombie flick. So yeah, we're definitely gonna see some weird shit in this. But what made this interview so insightful and interesting to watch is that Zach Cregger knows ball. He mentions what it's like playing through a Resident Evil game, and how he went about recreating it, like having the character scavenge for resources like ammo, and how the protagonist will gradually go from a handgun to a machine gun, as well as run into several areas that are blocked off by a keypad or lock and requiring a key or passcode to proceed. He also mentioned how he had the camera stick to the character's back and follow them like it's a third-person perspective, and there were several times where it actually switches to first person. He even mentioned specific things about different Resident Evil games, like Leon Resident Evil 2, Nemesis from Resident Evil 3, and he talked a lot about Resident Evil 4 and how it's his favorite, and even Resident Evil 8. So he is definitely a fan of these games. He wasn't lying about that. He even said that some of the newer games focus a lot more on horror than the older ones did, and that's where I think he's pulling inspiration from when capturing the feel for his movie. He said there are several Easter eggs too, so keep your eyes peeled. So really, this movie is basically just another story taking place in that world. Now, after hearing him speak more about the movie and the several different things he liked about the games and how he tried to incorporate them, it just confirms that this movie is in safe hands and that he was definitely the right choice. So overall, it's like I said before, it's probably not going to be a good adaptation because it is its own story within the Resident Evil universe, but it's still going to be a pretty damn good movie. And that might be the best way to approach it at this point, because Resident Evil's universe is kind of like a spider web, so this is just another story happening within it. So it just kind of makes sense. Ironically, after seeing the trailer and hearing about the concept, it sounds like it's more in line with the Outbreak games if you remember those. Now, as for me, Zach Cregger is 2 for 2 in the horror space, so I have no doubt that he's going to deliver. After finally seeing a glimpse of it, I know he's going to deliver. And I think it's safe to say that this is easily going to be the best Resident Evil live action project. And it has the possibility to be one of the best video game movies. Granted, that's not a high bar, but I think it's more likely going to happen. So my initial thoughts were, this is probably going to be pretty good. And after seeing this, I just know it's going to be good. But it's all I gotta say. I'm excited for it. I can't wait. Leave a comment, let me know. What do you think about this trailer? Is it peak? Is this movie going to be awesome? Or do you think it sucks? Leave a comment, let me know. Alright, anyway, that's it, so see ya.
Oh, no.